Shit. What's going on, everyone? Young Donut, back at it. I know I hate interrupting these things really quick, but I want to just give this quick announcement before the episode starts, which I hope you guys enjoy with Chillin Dude. It was a shit ton of fun. So, what I'm here to talk about basically is that the controller giveaway follower goal has been met, as you can see right up there. If you're just listening to this, you can't really see, but we hit the 200 mark, is what I kind of wanted. I would have loved more, but, you know, whatever. We got affiliated. That's pretty sick. I'm going to be giving away the Mute City Customs controller. Right now, I'm going to have a video playing showing just, like, how good it is, like the shield drops, the dash back on it, all that good shit. And it is a really great controller. I've messed around with it a little bit, not that much though, because I want you guys to get the full experience. I don't want to break it in too hard. I want that to be on you guys because it's brand new, you know? Again, just can't recommend these guys enough. Going to Mute City Customs is the best decision you will ever make. I don't think they're doing a queue system anymore. It's more like first come first serve or something like that. I don't really know. You can check more out. Typo's Twitter is always active. He's always posting updates and stuff like that on there, so make sure you shoot him a follow as well. Follow all of them, but I mean, you know, whatever. Also, if you buy some of their merch and you really want to support your boy, if you use coupon code THEBAKERY, one word, just THE Bakery. Why'd I tell you how to spell that, but not bakery? So you use that code at checkout and you get 10% off your merch, which is pretty sick. Make it sound like a god church. I just ordered a shirt. I actually didn't, but I'm about to. So the controller giveaway is going to happen next Wednesday. So what date is that? September 13th. I'm going to be giving this bad boy away. And if you don't remember, we now have a currency system in the chat where everyone that follows is given 10 credits, anyone that subs gets 100 credits, and from that point on you can use those credits to like help your chances to win. So subs have 100 points, followers have 10, and it's gonna basically, like, I'm gonna have everyone's name and everyone's amount of points into a spreadsheet, and then I'm gonna have a random number generator pick from the total number. And if your number is picked from your range, then you get the controller. If your name is not picked, I'm very sorry. There will be more giveaways to come. I'll probably do like a Mute City Customs merch giveaway at some point. If you want to use those currencies you have, because everyone has 10 automatically, and subs have 100, like off the gate. If you want to use those 10 to give you a 20%, well, not 20%, but you get 20 points instead of 10, you need to come into the chat and you need to spend those donuts. Because if you don't spend them, then you only have your 10 points. And that's fine, too. A lot of people are kind of lurkers and they only do that. So, come into the chat before next Wednesday, September 13th, 2017, because this will be an old VOD. Spend those donuts, get a higher chance to win the controller. And guys, I really hope you enjoy this episode. It was a shit ton of fun because Sean is such the homie. Make sure you head over to his Twitch channel too. Subscribe to him, follow him, donate to him. Help this guy enjoy his break. You know, he deserves it. He's a great person. And make sure you check out Smash the Record too. He's going to be speedrunning Sunshine with, I think 360 Chrism or Chism. I don't know. Something like that. So I hope you guys check it out. Hope you guys enjoy the episode. Peace out. What is up with it, everyone in the entire planet Earth? Welcome to the Bakery, your home for Super Smash Brothers related stuff. I don't really know. I kind of talk about way too much on this show, but here with me today is my one of my personal Smash heroes, the guy that pretty much got me into this next to the documentary. Kashan Khan, aka Chillin Dude 829. Chillin, what's up, my man? How you doing?
How's it going, man? Good to be here.
Nice. I'm doing pretty good. I just kind of... You ever, like, eat a lot of food that can, like, make your tongue kind of sore or something like that, and then it just kind of bothers you for a while?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just finished, like, a bag of salt and vinegar Lays, and now my tongue's like it's got like that bubble feel on it right now, but I'm feeling like I'll be good. Who knows?
I love salt and vinegar though.
Yo,
so
good. top tier chips right there. So if you want to give a quick introduction, I kind of have like all the guests do this. It's just like formality at this point, just saying who you are, where you're from, who you play, just who is Kashan Khan. Who is he?
All right, so I'm Kashan Khan. I've been playing competitive Melee forever, basically, since like 2001. 2002 was when I started first going to tournaments. So pretty much the majority of my life, which is kind of crazy to think about. And I have also recently, the past couple years, gotten into streaming a lot. Got a pretty decent following on Twitch as well. Gotten into speedrunning a little bit. And also, purely for fun, I do some rapping. But
nah, dude, that's professional. That's pro stuff right there. No, dude, I think we all love that. It's been what, like 2 years now since the Leffen rap? I think
it's been 2.5 years now. It's pretty crazy, and it's actually getting close to 1 million views on YouTube, which is kind of insane to me.
Oh my god! If it's not at, oh my god, guys, boost that view count. Let's get that to 1 million. That's gotta get to 1 million by now. So I know a lot of people have probably seen the documentary. So a lot of these questions, well, not even a lot, but some of these questions might seem a little mundane, but. One thing I wanted to know a little bit more about was how you got introduced to the game, because I know you played it like ever since it came out, but the competitive aspect in the documentary, you talk like it came about when you met like Azen and everything kind of blew up from there. If you want to go into a little bit of detail on that.
Yeah, so basically I met Azen in like the year 2000, which was like a year and a half maybe before Melee came out, and I had played Smash 64 a lot with my brother and like just neighborhood kids and stuff, and I was really nothing special even compared to them. But everyone kind of has an ego about Smash for some reason from the get-go, myself included. So when my brother told me he met this kid at school who was super good at Smash 64, I was like, there's no way, I would kick this guy's ass. Let's see it. And so he invited him over one day, and it actually blew my mind how much better he was, like not only compared to me, but compared to anyone else I had seen play the game. Wow. He was using Link, who is definitely one of the worst characters in that game, and moving faster than like anything I had ever seen in Smash before. So that pretty much immediately blew my mind that there was that much of a skill gap, or like even that much of a skill ceiling that you could reach. Obviously, he wasn't the top Smash 64 player, but he was probably up there, honestly, just because he used a lot of advanced techniques. He used Z canceling, it was called at the time, and fast falling, shield grab, stuff like that didn't even occur to us really.
So were you a 64 competitive kid to begin with, actually?
Not really. So honestly, I don't think there was much of a competitive scene for 64. As far as I know, there were not really very many tournaments. If there were, they were probably very small, unorganized types of things. But the significance of meeting Azen was it kind of just opened my eyes to the possibility of competitive play, I think. Whereas before that, it was kind of just messing around with the game, basically. And then when we really got competitive was when Melee first came out. When Melee first came out, we sort of realized the depth that was there. Not fully, but we kind of realized that it was much faster than 64. It had seemingly a lot more to learn in it. And because of that, and because of the fact that we were already in love with Smash 64, and Melee had amazing graphics compared to 64. Things like that just made us immediately fall in love with Melee. So we started playing it competitively just amongst each other. Not that we were really thinking about tournaments or stuff like that yet, but just the fact that we wanted to beat each other's asses basically is how we initially got competitive. And that's me, my brother Azen, and his friend Andon. And so it was basically the four of us, and we would be really competitive amongst ourselves. And I think that's why I tend to say I pretty much started competitive play when the game first came out. Even though there weren't any tournaments or anything like that we were attending just yet, we already had that competitive drive of wanting to beat each other, and so we were practicing a lot and trying to improve a lot. Nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because this kind of comes into why the name Chillin Dude.
So that's kind of a funny story. This is actually predates Smash even. when I was maybe 10 or 11 years old. I was trying to come up with a slick new AOL Instant Messenger screen name.
Slick.
And at age 10 or 11 or whatever it was, I decided that Chillin Dude was the dopest possible name I could come up with. And I threw in... yeah, exactly. And then I just threw my birthday at the end because obviously Chillin Dude was taken already. So that's how the name was born.
Oh, I like that. Oh, and which, by the way, I know it's a couple days late now, but I mean, happy belated.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely had to hit you up with that. So, as you were getting into the scene at a relatively young age, how old would you say you were when you were big into Melee at that point?
I'd say so when the game first came out, I was 12 years old. So, that's pretty much, like I said, exactly when we got into competitive. So okay. I was very young. Okay.
So at that very young age, and this was something from the documentary that actually stuck with me for a little while that was kind of confusing. When you ran Game Over, you guys had like a $300 or whatever $100 pop bonus that it was. And at the time I was like, oh my god, this kid's like fucking like 13 or 14 and he somehow has this much extra money for a pop bonus. I was going to ask, like, how did you get into TOing at a young age, especially to acquire all these guys to come in from all over?
Right. Well, so initially Asin found Smashboards in like early 2002 and he was really psyched about it. He was like, oh, there's people that actually play this, competitively. There weren't too many tournaments just yet, but we did see a couple of tournaments popping up on there. And so we decided, since we didn't see any tournaments in our own area, the only solution was to hold our own tournament. And even at age 12, I guess I was already more organized and I had more of the TO spirit, I guess, than any of the other people in my crew. Mm-hmm. So I just decided to go ahead and start looking for a venue myself, started emailing places, and one place in particular, American Legion, was very responsive to it. They didn't say that they were going to charge us anything, and so it obviously seemed like an ideal venue for our first tournament ever. And so that was in August 2002. And the tournament only had like 14 entrants, I think. Maybe like 15 or 16 people showed up. So it was pretty small, but at the time we were still psyched that anyone else played the game competitively like we did.
Right.
And then a couple years later, I didn't really host many more tournaments. I held like a tournament at another member of our crew was named D0nut, and I actually held a tournament at his house later that year. But then I didn't really host tournaments for a while. But in 2003, especially toward the end of 2003, there started to be a lot of trash talk on Smashboards about which region was the best and about who specifically were the best players. And so when people were claiming that Ken and Isaiah were the best, I was like, nah, that's bullshit. So I tried to, ask them, like, what would it take for you guys to come out to a Virginia tournament? And they were like, oh, there has to be some kind of guaranteed pot for teams, because they were, as a lot of people know, they were the undisputed best team of the time. They were ridiculous in teams, basically untouchable. So they wanted to basically make sure that they would make up their travel costs at least. And so the way I went about getting a pot bonus going is at D0nut's house again. We just held bi-weeklies, and a certain percentage of the pot, it would be like $5 or $10 entry, and we would withhold like 30-40% of the pot to put toward that pot bonus for Game Over.
Right.
And I actually think that's a concept that could still work today. Honestly, I don't know.
It definitely does. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly feel like I don't see it as much, but it worked out perfectly for Game Over, because we held maybe 7 or 8 bi-weeklies over the course of a few months, and that led to us hitting our goal, which was guaranteed pot bonus for both teams and singles, which ended up being enough incentive for Ken and Isaiah to come over. So in retrospect, it is kind of crazy that I did all this at like age 14 or whatever. But but at the time, I didn't think anything of the fact that I was doing it at a young age. I was purely motivated by the fact that I wanted to test our skills against however many people we could, especially the best, the supposed best players in the world.
Right. I mean, I guess that shows a lot of motivation on your end too, which could have, of course, drove a couple people, or not a couple, but a lot of people to come to a tournament that you're hosting. It's an impressive drive, and it's good to see, to help a community growing and all that. Do you TO really all that much anymore, or not really?
Not too much recently. The last tournament I helped TO was Bar Wars a few years ago.
Oh, right.
And unfortunately, that tournament, Bar Wars 2, the initial Bar Wars was a big success, but Bar Wars 2 ended up running out of time at the end, and there was problems with the venue. There was a lot of different issues going on. So since then, that was also right after I got sponsored, was Bar Wars 2. So with the streaming and trying to practice as often as I need to be a pro player, and everything else I have going on, I decided that TOing is not in the cards for me right now. But now that I'm taking a break from Melee, I might try to get back into TOing at some point.
All right, well, that can work. That could work out. Any advice you would give to like people that are that even are young and trying to come up and make a scene for themselves, let's say in like an area that's very, very low? I know I did an interview last week, and I think it was with people from Binghamton, New York, and they were saying a lot of their scene, it kind of struggles just to find like venues and stuff like that.
Yeah, it can be very difficult. So I would recommend that a big thing to do in an area where it seems like there's no smashers is to go online and try to reach out wherever you can, whether that's Smashboards or Reddit, or even just like hanging out on Smash Ladder, wherever you can, to try to see if there's anyone nearby you. Another thing that can help a lot is looking for a college campus nearby. I think that's a hot spot for smashers anywhere. So if you have a college campus nearby, that's probably the best place to start. And it's basically about building a scene if you don't have one yet, because people love Smash Brothers in general. A lot of people really don't know about the competitive scene. So if you kind of just get the word out there, whether it's, you can just go to a local like game store and put up flyers or something like that for either, obviously if it's very low population in terms of smashers, you would have to probably start with just like Smash Fest and stuff. You got to start from like the ground up. So just have like Smash Fest, invite people over, or to like a game store venue, whatever it might be, and just get people playing. And that's how you can start building a scene from the ground up. It's very difficult, and it's obviously going to take some time. But like I said, when I was 12 years old and doing it, I didn't have like this vision of, this massive esports building up in the future. I wanted to play people in Smash. That's all it came down to. So if you have that motivation and that drive, you can build up a scene, even if it's not the biggest scene in the world, even if you don't end up having, 50, 60 man locals, you can still make something happen.
Definitely. Nice stuff. So I guess this can switch us into you as a player. In 2017, I know we were just talking just a second ago, and you were talking about how you you currently are on a break. However, even before that, in 2017, you got ranked 50th on MIOM's little summer PR thing, which I don't know how serious they were taking this one, but I mean, that's still pretty cool to be put on that. And then just the year before, 2016, you were ranked 36th, which is also pretty cool. But now the question is, why currently take this break?
Well, basically, there's several reasons. Number one, I definitely feel like my recent rankings in tournaments haven't been up to par. And I don't necessarily think it's because of my practice regimen or anything like that, although that could be a factor. I think the main factor is honestly just my mental game. It feels like there's too much pressure on me as a player to perform, which there's a tremendous amount of pressure for the top players right now, because especially if that's your main thing, especially if you don't have like a fallback of like a real job or, some type of career, or at least something on the side that you can do, then it's pretty much you feel the pressure of, if I don't do well at this tournament, then that's my career could be going downhill. So it's a huge amount of pressure. So I think that was getting to me a lot this summer. On top of that, I feel like just taking the break and just kind of letting my mind clear a little bit, letting it refocus and stuff like that, sort of remembering why I enjoy playing the game in the first place, I think can come out of taking a break. So that's, as far as my player motivation, that's the gist of it, is I'm trying to just get a better mindset going by taking a break.
Okay.
Aside from that, though, I'm also looking to, as I said, have something else be my main career, my main income, stuff like that. And so I'm looking into getting an esports type job, whether it's working at Smash GG or Twitch, or there's any number of companies. Obviously, those two are probably the most heavily involved with Smash,
right.
But I'm also looking to branch out a little bit, potentially into other esports. And just do whatever I can to build my resume toward that, which I feel like I wasn't really focused on very much while I was trying to be a pro player. I tried to kind of balance it and do whatever I could to build my resume while still, competing in tournaments all the time, still practicing constantly. And I feel like that's not really the way to do it, or at least it wasn't working out for me so far. So I decided that putting the practice and being a pro player on the back burner for a little bit was actually the right move. And like I said, it kind of works out because I think that the break will help me as a player anyway. And if I do manage to get into an esports job, then I think that would also take a lot of the pressure off that I talked about earlier,
right?
And make it a lot easier for me to compete more as a hobby, more as something I enjoy on the side, rather than being my main career and income.
So this isn't a retirement in the slightest. This is just a break and then come back when you actually feel better about it and stuff like that, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. At the moment, I'm saying like 2 or 3 months. I don't really have a specific date or anything in mind of when I'm going to come back. I do plan on competing at Genesis, which is in January.
Okay.
At the moment, I plan on it, but if things aren't where I want them to be by then I might continue the break as well. But I highly doubt this is any kind of PPMD situation where I'm going to just indefinitely be retired and, maybe never come back or whatever. But I definitely want people to know that I'm fully planning on making a return in just a few months. So
awesome.
I'll definitely be back for sure.
You see the Chillin Dude Craigasms every time you join a room now. This guy's been on break forever. Chillin Dude Craigasm. So during this break, you think, I know we were just talking about maybe even TOing some events, but do you think we're going to be seeing maybe some of that, maybe some commentating on the side? I've been hearing you do commentary a lot more, I would say, than in other years. And also having Liquid on your back, Team Liquid, they're fully supporting this as well?
Yeah, so I ran it by my manager before I announced that I was taking a break, and she was awesome about it. They're very supportive. They're like, let us know if you need help with any content creation or anything, because that's awesome. So my main focuses are going to be commentary for sure, good. Content creation, which includes analysis, just streaming more regularly, and trying to do more like kind of educational Melee content that can help newer players. And possibly doing basically what you're doing now, like talk shows, like interviewing people on my stream and stuff like that as well.
Awesome.
And then I also want to get back into writing, which a lot of people told me is a big strength of mine. I actually wrote a piece called History of a Smasher.
Yep. If you haven't read that, guys, I'm going to put that in the description of the VOD. You need to read it. It's a great read. I've read it as well.
Yeah, apparently that was one of the inspirations for Samox to actually make the documentary, which is pretty crazy. Yeah. So yeah, I want to get back into that, try to push that further. I don't know if, it'll never truly be complete until I fully retire, I think, but it's back in like 2005 right now, so I obviously have much more to cover as far as the history goes. So I want to try to get a lot further in that, and then maybe branch out into writing just general Smash articles and maybe other esports as well. Try to build my writing resume as well. And so, yeah, basically, like I said, the plan is just to build my esports resume in however many ways I can, and try to make myself a better candidate to get hired by one of these esports companies. That, because I think it's pretty obvious that my passion is esports.
Definitely.
Like that's what I love to do.
Been around it for about a decade plus. I mean,
yeah. So it's hard to picture myself doing anything else with my life that I would still enjoy, basically. Right. And so because of that, I think the break is good to try to focus in and hone in on that. Make sure that I'm doing everything I can to put myself in a position that a company would want to hire me, rather than, because I feel like I have applied to a few companies in the past, but I feel like they were probably like, oh, well, he's a pro player, that's his focus right now, so they probably didn't give it a second thought. But now that I'm making moves to try to build up my resume, I'm hoping that I can end up landing one of those jobs.
And I think one thing even Melee players and all Smash players sometimes miss when they're applying for stuff is, like, you play a competitive game, therefore you have a competitive drive to begin with. A lot of these guys go after an organization, or they're trying to get a job somewhere, and they're going to push it. And I could definitely see even you pushing towards these organizations, because we all have that competitive drive. Every job industry is going to be competitive, but hell, we fucking play a game for money here. We're gonna fight for this shit. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, sure. I mean, I hope to see you working with some big ass orgs soon, and that'd be sick to see. So,
thanks, man.
With that, I want to switch it over to Chillindude829. I gotta hear some of this on how did you ever get started on spitting these hot fire bars, and how much did you have to pay Chew to help you out?
So it's pretty funny. I've always been a fan of rap music. Like growing up, I just enjoyed listening to hip hop in general, and really like the beats, but I also really like the lyrics. I like the wordplay and stuff like that. But I never considered getting into rapping really. In 2003, we actually recorded a diss track with all of H2IL.
Oh my god.
Little known fact, it's called Good Clucks, after the Samus player Wes, who I'm sure you remember from the documentary. He would always say Good Clucks instead of Good Luck. I don't know why, it was some kind of thing he had, but we found it really funny. So we made a whole song based on that, and it was basically like a DA/California, Ken and Isaiah diss track.
Is it still on YouTube at all?
It got muted on YouTube, but it is on SoundCloud, I believe. So I think if you Google H2IL Good Clucks, you'll probably find it. But yeah, it's hilarious, because at the time I was 13, the others were 15, 16 years old, so it's obviously terrible.
Oh my god, I think I just found it too. Is it by a random user account too?
Yeah.
Oh god, I'm linking this. I'm excited to hear that eventually. That's sick.
Yeah, it's hilariously bad, but I think that's actually what paved the way for the eventual resurgence of my rap, I guess, which was
Chillin bars.
Yeah, the Leffen diss track came about because obviously the trash talk was happening between me and Leffen on Twitter, and I had just started streaming on Twitch. I just got partnered on Twitch and stuff, so I was like, a sick sub goal would be to drop a Leffen diss track, and I'm sure people would love it. Definitely. And so I had that idea. And funny story, the guy who I hit up to make the beat, I had just seen him post a bunch of Melee-related beats on Reddit, and the guy's a genius as far as music production. So I hit him up and just emailed him. I was told him about the money match, and I was like, yo, is there any way you can make a Corneria remix for this Leffen diss track that I have planned? He responded within 5 minutes and was like, dude, fuck Leffen, I'm 100% down. So he and then 30 minutes later, he sent me the final beat that I ended up using for the Leffen diss track, because he's hella good at.
It's a fire beat too. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's super duper good. So I got the beat, and I started writing some lyrics. I finished the track in December, which was well over a month before the money match, and I started previewing it on my stream. At first I was just doing a couple lines, and then it got to half the song, and then eventually for enough subs I just did the whole song on stream. And I uploaded it unlisted on YouTube, and then sent the link to my subs. And then one of my subs, I still don't know who, but someone leaked it to Leffen and he posted it on Twitter. Yeah. So yeah, and he obviously was like making fun of it and stuff. He's like, "This is horrible," and I was like, "Shit! Like I can't I can't release this now. Like he's ruined it basically." And so I went back and just rewrote the whole thing from scratch. There was also a couple references to Team Curse, and at the turn of that year, from 2014 to 2015, we actually got merged with Liquid.
Right.
So the Curse references didn't really make sense anymore since we were Team Liquid, so that was also another reason to rewrite it, but it was mainly because Leffen leaked it, so... it took me a while to rewrite it, to try to come up with more ideas to do it and stuff, and the only time that Papa Paint, who's the BGBC video guy, and he's super good at video production, the only time that he was available to do it was the night before Apex. So that's why the diss track didn't actually release until literally the night before. Like, we recorded it the night before. He, edited the video in like a few hours somehow because he's amazing. And then and then we released it like midnight or 1 a.m. that night before the money match. So
it still kind of blew up that night too, right? Didn't it get got pretty big? Yeah,
I forget how many views specifically, but it was definitely tens of thousands at least. And people were loving it. And then obviously the money match happened, which kind of solidified it to meme status.
Yeah, I was gonna say we don't have to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is. Like, I'm over it at this point, and I think like if I were salty about the money match, especially now, but like even at any point after the money match, if I got mad when anyone brought it up or anything like that, it would just made my life a living hell. So I kind of had to get over it. That was the only way I could deal with it and still stay in the community, I think. But yeah, now it almost has 1 million views on YouTube, which is kind of crazy. People love it. Like, I've performed it live at Smash events.
Dude, that song is sick. It's a fucking sick song.
So, again, I don't really know why people liked it enough to request more, but they did. So I it took me a long time, but eventually, because I never really I still don't consider myself a legitimate rapper. I just do it kind of for fun. I just do it for fun as as part of the whole Smash persona thing. So and I honestly go for the meme stuff. Like, if you listen to the Hugs diss track, it's like pure memes. So.
That one's so fire too, though. Like, come on.
Yeah.
That one, dude. I was even gonna say the Mike Hayes one when you drop the fucking, what is it? It's the one bar when it's like, why I get more viewers on my BRB screen, dude. Come on. That was probably the sickest low key diss I've heard in a rap song in a while.
Yeah. No, I mean, I do think that honestly my lyrics are pretty clever. I don't consider myself. As far as delivery and flow and stuff, I think I have a lot of work to do in that field, but my lyrics are definitely pretty good. So I still don't consider myself, like I said, a legitimate rapper, but who knows? I might spend more time on it, try to practice more, and actually become a little more legit as far as rapping goes, because it is a lot of fun, and I honestly love doing it. So.
Well, and with that comes the question, so you've done one now on Mike Hayes, Hugs, Leffen. I don't think I'm missing anyone. Did you do 2 on... Actually... No, and then there was the Shootout one that you guys did, which was kind of like a global roast rap or something like that. But with those initial ones, was there any actual beef behind? Obviously, the Leffen one, there was the shit talk, but that Mike Hayes and Hugs one, was there any actual beef that was stirred up there that even maybe others, including myself, might have missed as to why those two in particular?
Not really. As far as Hugo goes, he was just having a really shitty year in 2016, so he was an easy target. Feel bad saying that, but that's legitimately the main reason. And I actually wasn't going to go through with it. I actually wasn't going to go through with it, but then at Shine last year, he actually grimed me for seating. So they saved seats for me in the front row, Hugo and Leah and a few other people, and they saved a seat for me. And then I messaged them both. Like, they told me specifically the day before, they're like, yeah, sit with us for top 8. We'll save you a seat. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then that morning, I like messaged them both on Facebook. And Leah didn't see it, but Hugo saw it, and he just ignored it. Apparently, he just had girls sitting there instead, so he opted to ignore me.
No.
So as soon as that happened, I was like, all right,
he's getting roasted.
Yeah. So I immediately went back to work on it and decided that, you know, I might as well go all out. I might as well get Papa Paint again, do another video, and go the whole 9 yards. So it ended up being really sick too. It was a lot of fun.
And then the Mike Hayes one was pretty much just because he responded. Now that I remember, it's because he responded to you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's literally the only reason, is because I dissed Hugo, and then Mike responded for some reason. To be fair, his track was fire.
Yo, it was. You guys both make like fire raps for like one of the most like cringy topics to ever make a rap about. Yet they always turn out fire from the lyrics, and these beats are like fucking sick. Like I'll never get over the Corneria beat. That's on my 20XX pack. Just the beat, just because it's so sick. Yeah. No offense to the lyrics, but yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah, no, the guy Brady Knapp is the guy that produces it, and if you could put like a link to his SoundCloud
easily
in the description, because he's a genius. He actually so as far as future plans for rap, I guess I've kind of to an extent passed the torch to Chew, because he's been doing really well, and so I've written a ton of diss tracks. The way Chew likes to do it is he likes to beat someone and then diss them rather than diss someone leading up to a hype match or whatever. He beats them first, and then I guess that's like the foolproof way to do it, because then they can't really say shit because they lost to you. So, but obviously recent events have transpired at Shine, and the Leffen diss track part 2 is coming by Chew, and I'm gonna write it for him. I write all Chew's raps because I don't know how good he is at coming up with clever lyrics on his own. So he's always asked me to like write raps for him. So I'm like, yeah, sure. And his delivery is getting a lot better. Actually, it was pretty bad at first, but it's getting surprisingly good now. It's pretty funny. But yeah, I hit up Brady Knapp again and asked for a remix of the Corneria beat, and he delivered, and it's super good.
God, let's go.
Yeah, so you guys better look out for the Leffen diss track part 2 coming soon, hopefully this month.
Hell yeah. So that means you were the one that wrote Jigglypuff. You were okay with that one?
Yeah. I actually love that line. It's hilarious. When I first gave that line to Chew, he was trying to sing it in like the high-pitched Jigglypuff voice, and I was like, dude, no. Just
say it normally, bro. Just say it normally.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the sickest things about that song. So going on to the Respect Your Elders, though, I do want to know, like, if this is like completely like hypothetical, but do you think that if you had beaten Leffen, do you think he would have came back at you with a diss track?
I highly doubt it. There's a clip of, I think Leffen was on HBox's stream, and he rapped or attempted to rap the Leffen diss track, and it was atrociously bad. To be fair, his English is probably better now, so maybe, but I don't. If I had beat him, I don't think he would have come back with a diss track. He probably would have just brushed it off and acted like it didn't mean anything.
He hit up Young Lean, though. He gets into the Young Lean beats. If he came at you with a Young Lean beat diss track, oh my god. Ooh, Chillin, yeah. I'm sorry, but you might have been done for, my man. Young Lean on some fire shit. So as far as Chew coming out with a new beat or a new rap, do you have anything new coming out soon that you might be able to plug? Or are you, like you said, you are passing the torch, or you're like all done?
Yeah, I'm not all done with rapping or anything, but I don't have any immediate plans for a new rap for myself. Okay. I do have a collab with Mike Hayes that's been in the works for a while, but Mike isn't writing shit, so I'm just going to call him out again. Every chance I get. I've been calling him out. Because I wrote like a whole verse for it, and he hasn't written shit.
Yeah, I'm literally going to go into his stream later. He's probably streaming tonight. I'm sub to this guy. If you want me to fucking stay sub to you, bro, get on your shit. First guy I interviewed on this show, and he can't even write. Fucking God, Mike. Anyway, so if you're watching this, go into fucking Mike Hayes' stream as soon as you can, and just tell this man to start writing.
Yeah, definitely. It's a really dope idea too. So if the collab ends up coming out, that's probably my next planned rap. But
Nice.
We'll see. I might have other stuff up my sleeve eventually. But at the moment, I'm just working on the Leffen Diss Track Part 2 for Chew.
Fair enough. So I know also you're gonna have to get going soon. Which, by the way, if you have to go at any time, just let me know and we can just cut it. But
Okay.
as far as, I guess I'm gonna cut it to the last bit of questions I had for you. This is one thing I love asking everyone that comes on this show, because I think the answers they give are just amazing and they help people kind of just with their understanding of Melee. Is, what do you love most about Melee or the Smash community in general? What is it that you love?
So about Melee specifically, about the game, I think it's the creativity aspect, the fact that you have so much freedom within the engine to pretty much do whatever you want, as opposed to a game like Street Fighter where it's a lot more rigid, the combos are a lot more optimized, you kind of have to do the same combo over and over, whereas in Melee, it's such a dynamic engine that you can see something new in almost every match you play, which is kind of insane to think about considering the game's been out for 15 years. There's also the aspect of you actually have defensive options. Like in Street Fighter, especially Marvel is a great example of you get hit once and you're just watching, yourself get comboed for sometimes 30 seconds to a minute, which is absolutely absurd. In Melee, you actually can DI, you can tech, there's ways to get around it. And that also, again, makes it more dynamic where in order to follow the DIs and follow the techs, you have to get more creative rather than the same set response every time. So that makes it just a beautiful game, and I think that's why it's still gaining popularity after 15 years of being out, and the game hasn't really gotten stale at all, is because of how creative you can be and how dynamic the engine is. As far as the community, I just love the fact that Smashers are homies, man. I don't know what it is, but compared to I briefly played Street Fighter 4. And to be fair, the Street Fighter 4 crowd is more mature, a lot older in general, but they were definitely less friendly for the most part. And everyone in Smash just seems to be really friendly, really approachable, really willing to help, especially for newer players. So I love that aspect of the community for sure.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, see, these are the questions I'd love to ask every time. They get great answers. So I guess then, very last question. I didn't get really any on the social medias. So I guess you were talking a little earlier about how you also do speedrunning. If you want to talk a little bit about that, how you got introduced to speedrunning and what games you speedrun / game. I don't know.
Yeah, so I started watching speedruns actually 3 or 4 years ago at least. I would watch Siglemic run 64, for example, Mario 64. And it kind of just piqued my interest. It was a really cool idea. Honestly, even back in 2006 or 7, I kind of speed ran Ocarina of Time. It wasn't really a speed run in the sense that I didn't do anything advanced. I just tried to beat the game as fast as possible. And I didn't do it in one sitting either. I would do a dungeon and then stop the timer and shit and then take a break. So it was far from a true legitimate speed run.
Not a single segment, but a multi
segment. Yeah. So it, but I think that just shows that concept has kind of always piqued my interest, even that long ago. And so when I started seeing people doing it on Twitch, especially a few years ago, I realized, you know what, I actually love watching speedrunning because I think speedrunning is super entertaining. And I also have a Twitch channel, so why not pick one up myself? Hey. Seemed a smart move at the time. And out of the games that I watched, Mario Sunshine seemed like the easiest to get into. And it's also one of my favorite games in general. Just as a kid, I played it a ton. I played it way more than Mario 64. And so it's just very nostalgic for me as well. And I think that's one of the coolest aspects about speedrunning is it allows you to sort of relive the nostalgia of a game while still keeping it fresh in a way. And so I got into speedrunning Sunshine in early 2015. And I have a decent time now. It's about 10 minutes off the world record, which is honestly a lot, but it's decent.
For a guy that's playing for Melee competitively half the time, if not more than half the time, I mean, that's still pretty sick.
Yeah, it's not bad. So, and I definitely enjoy doing it a lot. While I'm taking my break, I'm definitely going to look to improve my time as much as I can. I'm actually racing the game at Smash the Record in a couple weeks against 360 Chrism, who's he's a very popular speedrunner on Twitch. So
he runs so many games. Holy shit.
He does. He speedruns a ton of games. So he's just a really good speedrunner in general. His Mario Sunshine time is about 4 minutes faster than mine. But he's gonna have to collect 6 more shines, I think. So I think it's actually gonna end up being really close. So that should definitely be hype.
That's sick.
But yeah, as far as other games, I tried to learn Majora's Mask speedrun, and it's so fucking hard. Like, it's actually ridiculous. I think I made the right decision because, like I said, one of the reasons I got into Sunshine because it seemed like one of the easier games to get into as far as speedruns go. And I definitely think that holds true at this point. Majora's Mask was insanely difficult. I finally learned all the tricks after like a few weeks of practicing a lot. Yeah. And I tried to run, and then I got to the final boss, Majora, and I realized I had never fought Majora without the Fierce Deity mask, which is like this OP mask that makes it free. And so obviously in the speed run you don't get all the masks, so you can't get the Fierce Deity mask, so I had to fight Majora with just like 6 hearts or whatever it was, and no other like items, no extra masks, and I got destroyed. And then so it takes like 30 minutes to get back to Majora. I got destroyed again, and then I got destroyed. I got a bunch of fairies for the 3rd go around, and I still lost. And I was like, okay, I ended up rage quitting, and I have not been back to speedrunning Majora's Mask since. I might go back to it one day in the future, but it's definitely really tough. I think just doing that though gave me a lot of appreciation for, speedrunners. Yeah, like the fact that you have to spend so much time just learning these little tricks, and then they pull it off and make it look super easy. I think very many people who watch speedruns don't quite realize how difficult the stuff people are doing actually is.
I was even going to say, like, Super Mario Sunshine. I don't even understand how you're saying that's one of the easier form of speedrunnings. I watch, what's that guy? Is it Bubble Boy, I think is his name?
Bouncy Boy?
Bouncy Boy, yeah. Dude, he's amazing in terms of, like, watching him do Sunshine runs, and even I've tuned into your stream and watched you do it a couple times. I think just anyone that practices these games if I say way too much, I sound judgmental because I try and speedrun too, but like people that have played it like a shit ton, like of course it's gonna look easy, but it's like, oh my fucking god, how are you doing any of this stuff? Like,
yeah. So once you actually like try it yourself, you kind of get an appreciation for how ridiculous the stuff actually is. For sure. But it's a lot of fun regardless, and like I said, the main reason I picked it up was for the entertainment of my stream, and people love it. Like I remember at one point last year I was getting consistently more viewers for Sunshine than Melee, and that still happens sometimes, like today. So it's kind of crazy that a lot of people at tournaments too will come up to me and be like, yo, Chillin, I love your Sunshine runs, which is just really funny to me because obviously I'm a pro player and everything, but people still know me a little bit for Sunshine. So it's definitely a lot of fun, and it's a fun thing to do as just like a hobby on the side. I'm definitely I don't think I'll ever be like a world record contender probably in any game.
Oh, never say never. Never say never, fam. JB taught me one thing.
Yeah, we'll see, but it's definitely a lot of fun regardless.
Definitely, and the diversity, man. You get into a bunch of different, what is it? Can't think of the name for it, but it's like a bunch of crowds basically. Like you You do speedrunning, you do a competitive game, all together. You got yourself a nice little cake of stuff.
Different communities coming in for sure. It's pretty cool. And there's actually a ton of overlap between speedrunning and Smash community as well, which is cool.
Oh yeah, we got like I'm pretty sure Silent Wolf does a lot. There's now you a lot. Mike is trying to get into speedrunning when he should be busy writing raps. There's a good amount.
Yeah, there's definitely a ton of Smashers that speedrun, and pretty much every speedrunner that I've met plays at least a little bit of Smash, which is pretty cool as well.
Sick. Damn.
Yeah.
Dude, our game is great, dude. What more can we say?
Definitely.
I think that was something in the doc that you said once, and I was kind of like super happy you said that. It was like all these people made a great taste in like a game. or something like that. They made great tasting games, so we got great tasting people.
Right. It was like kind of a joke when I said it, but it's actually honestly true.
It's pretty true, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's part of why, like I said earlier, the Smash community is so friendly and welcoming and everything, and I think that's part of it for sure.
Yeah, man. All right, well, that'll wrap it up for me. I don't got any other questions, I think, on the social media aspect. Guys, all the links to the stuff that we talked about will be in the description for the video version of this interview on the YouTube channel. Make sure you go follow and sub Chillin Dude at your Twitch. Is your Twitch Chillindude829 or just Chillin Dude?
Just Chillin Dude.
Perfect. So guys, make sure you go to his Twitch, follow, sub, get that sub hype, get all those fancy emotes. I'm gonna have to switch my sub to you at this point since Mike is fucking slacking hard. But yeah, if you want to give any like last minute shout outs to anyone or whatever before we wrap up.
Yeah, just shout outs to obviously Team Liquid, helping me out all the time, and being really cool about the break as well. Shout outs to the Chilluminati. That's my subgroup.
That's what it was. I forgot. Oh my god, it's been so fucking long. Oh my god.
And yeah, shout outs to my man D0nut. This was actually a really fun interview, dude. So keep it up, dude. Hope you get more exposure for these, because this seems like great content for sure. Yeah,
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for coming on and being one of the biggest reasons that I even play this game and have started this podcast, dude. Without your wise words of wisdom on that doc, what more can I say? What more can I do? So, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm D0nut. This has been The Bakery, and I hope you guys tune in either next week or the week after. Still never really sure if this is a bi-weekly or a weekly podcast. And that'll be the official double-digit podcast. We'll be hitting episode 10. Let's get it. Hell yeah.
Let's go. Good shit, man.
All right. Well, you take it easy, chillin', and thank you all for tuning in. This has been The Bakery. Have a good night.
Later.